Wellness. Today we're talking about being plant based when it's inconvenient. I'm Penny, your host for the War on Wellness, and we're going to talk about it today because I am just getting back from a week long trip of camping semi off grid, and I'm going to share it all with you and how I actually survived. Trust me, I survived. But first, watch this plant based penny video so that you can know a little bit more about who I am. Hello and welcome back to the War on Wellness. As I mentioned, I am surviving. Actually, I think that my body clock is still on Wyoming time, where I took a week long camping trip with a group called the Pathfinders, and we spent a week in Gillette, Wyoming. And so that prompted me for this particular topic that we're discussing today. And that topic is, let me make sure that you can see the topic along with me, but it is being plant based when it's inconvenient. Plant based when it's inconvenient because it's really easy to be plant based when you have your fridge, your freezer, your stove, your kitchen, and all of that is right in front of you. But it's a little bit more challenging when you have to do it yourself and you have to do it in a different environment. So I've been plant based since 2015, and I've done it in 7 countries and on 3 different continents. But let me tell you, camping was a whole different level for me. Although I am happy to report I stuck to my lifestyle plan. Hey Joe, how are you? So I want to say hello to him, hello to Connie, hello to Niete, and hello to Tanya. Hello to Van. Wonderful. Everybody's here. Let me know if you're watching on Facebook, or if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're watching on Instagram, wherever you're watching. Oh, make sure you go and subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. Oh, look, Mom's here, everybody. Hey, Mom. Very good. So I am looking forward to sharing with you just a little bit about my journey. But let's get into tackling this subject that I know that many of us have maybe faced, or if you're not plant based, it may be a subject that you are facing. Oh, let's see. One moment. I want to make sure that I have the people in the room from my plant based group because they are a very important group to me. So I want to make sure that I have everybody in the room. Okay, I'm checking. Instagram is here. And I see YouTube is here. And I see that Facebook is here. Yes. Okay, we're here. I was just mentioning in one of the garden groups that I belong to. It's a nationwide garden group. And they were saying, put where you live and where you are so that we can all get together. And I was, I said, actually, nobody lives where I am. I'm in Tiny Town, USA, in Central Virginia. The area that I'm in is in between 2 cities. It's not even in a city. It's a place called Simplicity, and it's about that wide, no stop signs, one fast food restaurant, one post office, no uh, police department or hospital or anything like that. But and we don't even have FiOS cable yet. But sometimes I kind of like living amongst the sheep and the cows and just amongst my thoughts. But today's topic, we're going to talk about staying plant based when it's not convenient. So whether you eat, so you don't even have to have been traveling or camping. It, you could be inconvenienced when you're attending an event or when you're just having a busy day or when you're traveling. Sticking to a plant-based diet sometimes for some people can be an uphill battle. So as I go along, feel free to put what your tip is in the comments to how you stick with the plant-based diet. Or you can just put battle in the comments if you're just battling it right now and still trying to figure it out. It's okay. So a little preparation and a positive mindset are going to go a long way to making this doable. And here are practical strategies. And I think I have about 5 strategies that I'm going to share with you today to help you stay on track. Number one is going to be to plan ahead. Plan ahead, that's going to be your first key to success. That is preparation. I've said before the 5 P's: prior performance prevents poor prior preparation prevents poor performance. I get it right. Prior preparation prevents poor performance. So I cannot emphasize that enough. So whether you're going to be out and about or you're going to be camping like I was, you have to pick something simple and portable. And that could be nuts, or it could be seeds, or it could be dried fruit. It could be a salad that you prepared already prepackaged for yourself. It could be a wrap or something like that, or the ingredients to make a wrap with. I use all those on my week-long camping trip. If you prepared some things the night before, they can save you to help you make healthier choices when the hunger strikes. Because so I was on a bus. Didn't mention this, but I was on a bus for 36 hours. Yes, God is good. Is what I'm going to say, because I survived it. A couple times I thought I was not going to survive, but I did survive it. So I live in Virginia. The camporee was in Wyoming, and so we had to pick up people, make some stops, and all that. So it was 30 hours. But I survived it. I did. And I am glad that I did go. But it did challenge me as far as being plant based because so the preparation part, I had to bring my own cooler and to make sure that that was taken care of. Even though the food was provided, I need to make sure I was taken care of. You understand me? You understand me? Does anybody understand what I mean by that? Put a Y in the chat if you make sure that you are taken care of and you don't make sure that somebody else takes care of all of your needs as far as eating or drinking, that you make sure you have your bottle of water, that you have your snacks. Put a Y in the chat if you're like me with that. The first point we mentioned was planning ahead. Second point is knowing your options. So when you're eating out, when you're traveling, research in advance as much as you can what the options are. So let's say, for instance, you're going to go out with a group of friends, or you're going to go out for a particular reason, and you're going to go out to a restaurant. And look up the menu for that restaurant ahead of time before you get there. Don't let the first time you see the menu be when you sit down at the table. That's not going to be the best time. A lot of restaurants have options. A lot of restaurants will try to make accommodations. And notice that I say restaurants. A restaurant is a place. The restaurants that I'm talking about are places that do not have just a lineup of fryers in the back, prepared food that they just slop into a dish. Restaurant is someplace that has a chef and not just employees. So restaurants sometimes can modify their dishes. Don't be afraid to ask. Now, what I discovered is that out west, when I say west, I mean like South Dakota and places like that, they don't do a lot of fast food, a lot of eating out. There are a lot of ranchers out there. There are a lot of people who grow their own food, and so they supply their needs when it comes to eating. So sometimes when the bus would stop at different places, and they weren't like the chain restaurants or places that I am familiar with on the East Coast, but I had my little stash, so I was okay. Now, think I think one time in the 7 days, I may have bought French fries, maybe. But I did ask up front if that was something I was just hankering for. And a lot of times they told me it was fried in the same oil that they fry the chicken or the fish. And so hard pass for me on that. But bring your own. And also their websites like Happy Cow. Happy Cow is an app that you can go to find out where there are vegan friendly places near you. And remember at grocery stores, a lot of times when we would stop at going to Walmart, I got me some pineapple, and you could get things like hummus with vegetables. You could also get your vegan junk food because, hey, you just might want to cheat a little bit. So there are different options when you need to plan ahead and you need to know your options. Also, when I registered for the Black Girls Run National Conference, it's going to be in Chicago in a couple of weeks. I'm going to be speaking there. When I registered there, one of the questions that they asked was, "What are your dietary preferences? Or did you have any dietary needs?" So I was able to check off vegan on that registration form. And for the 34 years that I spent leading in corporate America, I would get numerous invitations to dinners and banquets and events. And when I did, even if they didn't ask what the dietary needs are there, then I would call the organizer. And I mean, you can't be shy when you have specific dietary needs. So I would call the organizer and I would ask them what accommodations can be made for my dietary lifestyle. Basically, I'm vegan. What do you have for me to eat? So don't be afraid to ask the questions. Third, we're going to keep it simple. Keeping it simple. Now, I probably could have done better on the camping trip with this part here because I did vacuum seal some of my food and freeze it and take it with me. But I like cooking, and I'm kind of what do you, a spur of the moment. I have to be led when I cook, and so I don't always know what the end recipe is going to be. And so I'll start off with some, like yesterday, I started off with some wild rice, and then I added a little quinoa to that, and then I cooked some string beans, and I added a bunch of onions to that, and I said, oh, I think I'll add some peppers to that, and I said, I think I'm going to dice up some peppers and some onions, and then the next thing I know, I was grinding up chickpeas and putting it all together and making chickpea burgers, and so I ended up making chickpea burgers. But I did not start off that way in my cooking. So for me, planning ahead for a camping trip was a real challenge because I kind of like to be in the moment and be led and inspired as I cook. And planning ahead is not an inspirational activity, if that makes sense. Does anybody else cook like that? Does anybody else just cook in the spur of the moment based on inspiration? But put inspire in the chat if that is the way that you cook. Put inspire or put planner if you're a planner and you plan every last meal that you have for the week. Neither way is wrong. That's just the way that So let's do it. So keeping it simple is number 3. Sometimes we overcomplicate things. And however, if you're in a pinch, keep it simple, make it whole foods, a piece of fruit, which I did that a couple of times during the week, and I've done it several times in many different countries. I know when I was in the Philippines, I couldn't read a lot of the menu items, and it was a little bit more challenging on the flights. I can't take a cooler full of water or ice because it's going to melt and be water. So I had to be a little bit. I had to have less prepared foods for the trips across the pond or on the other side of the world than here in the United States. So piece of fruit, dried dried fruits or nuts or raw vegetables. Yeah, caveat. Let me back up here. You can take a piece of fruit with you on the plane if you're going to another country, but if you're going into another country, you need to consume that fruit before you get off the plane. Okay, you don't want to be fined. You don't want to have challenges when it comes to that. So just make sure that you look up what the rules are for your country. So, because I do know somebody who had to pay $500 because they had a piece of fruit in their baggage. So, so just make sure that that's you're taking care of that. So keeping it simple, whether it's veggies, fruits, dried fruits, whatever it is, that can hold you until you can get a proper meal. And simplicity is going to be the key when convenience is lacking. So the fourth strategy is to stay flexible. Stay flexible. Stay flexible with yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself when you haven't had your normal prescribed meals that you normally have every week and every day. It's okay. If your only option is a salad with a less than ideal dressing, it's okay. It is okay. The meal that you're gonna have is not perfectly balanced with all of the different food groups that you need. It's okay. What you want to do is want to look at the bigger picture. What is the bigger picture? So one less, two less, however many less, a week's worth for me while I was camping, less of perfectly balanced meals. It's okay. That that one day or that one meal is not going to define your entire healthy lifestyle. It is not. Trust me, I took a smoothie with me. I got a special thermos so that it would keep my smoothie frozen. So that when I got to, I guess it was, I don't know, Ohio or wherever we were, I was able to open my thermos up and eat my delicious fruit smoothie. And then I have started back in as I've come back, still adjusting my body clock, but I've gotten my fruit smoothies down again, starting those off. And so we want to make sure that we look at the bigger picture when it comes to staying flexible. And the fifth point is to share your journey. Point number 5. This is the final point. Share your journey with others to let them know about your plant-based lifestyle. And so whether it's family or friends or coworkers, sharing your dietary preferences, it can often lead to support. It can often lead to questions too. So be prepared for those. But one lady did share with me her journey and how she was trying to be healthy while she was camping, and she was camping with us. So I was happy to be able to share with her some of my options, and so share with her my food as well. So very good. Yes, I see your whys in the chat. I see your answers to my questions. Thank you very much. And so it is so very important that we do that. Yes, I'm happy to see that Latoya is an inspired cooker just like me. Yep, and Miss New York is a planner, but every now and then inspired, wonderful, great. Hello, Marissa Crafty. Hello, Michelle. Hello, Sussy. So listen, it is something that we have to do sometimes because at all times we have to understand what is best for us at that moment. So, and just think, you might be able to inspire someone else to make healthier choices just by how your living is, and your living is not in vain. So, there is an African proverb. I met many Africans this past week. I met Africans from Tanzania. They pronounce it Tanzania. We say Tanzania here. They say Tanzania. And from Kenya and from Ghana and from many different countries, from Germany, from Mexico, from China, from South Korea. People were there, 60,000 people. 60,000 people. I have to do another video on how I just survived the camping trip, uh, partially off grid, just by itself. But there's an African proverb that says, little by little, the bird builds its nest. And this just reminds us that there's small, consistent efforts over time that they add up. So every small choice that you make contributes to a positive change. Choice that you make, every choice that you make sure that it's contributing to a positive change in your life. So there you have it. Staying plant based is about planning, it's about simplicity, and it's about flexibility. So remember that every plant based choice you make gives you steps toward being better. And we have to be our own best health advocate. And listen listen to your body and do what feels right for you. Continue to subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow on my Instagram or on Facebook. Make sure you share it with a friend. And thank you for joining me today for the War on Wellness. Stay strong, stay healthy, and be well. And we will see you next week for the War on Wellness. And continue to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll talk with you later.